Imagine a world where the very nations once dismissed as dependent now build the machines that challenge the world's most powerful air forces. A world where innovation is no longer defined by wealth, but by will. Today, that world is becoming reality, and it's Pakistan that's rewriting the rulebook of modern air power. Pakistan's strategic leap in aerospace technology represents one of the most significant transformations in its modern defense history, a development that has captured the attention of global military observers. For decades, Pakistan's air power has relied heavily on imported platforms and technological assistance, particularly from the United States and China. However, with its next-generation fighter jet program, Pakistan is demonstrating a newfound level of technological ambition and defense independence. This project signifies a shift from being a buyer of technology to a creator of it, signaling to the world that the country is now capable of conceptualizing and constructing advanced systems that once seemed out of reach. Western defense circles are observing this shift with unease, recognizing that Pakistan's technological advancement in aerospace is not just a matter of national pride, but a potential challenge to long-standing power hierarchies within global air warfare capabilities. The project reportedly integrates stealth technology, digital fly-by-wire systems, and advanced radar capabilities, combining speed, agility, and reduced radar signature into a single platform designed to operate in both offensive and defensive roles. This kind of sophistication narrows the technological gap between Pakistan and the world's leading air forces, especially as its engineers collaborate closely with foreign partners to absorb, adapt, and innovate. Beyond the machinery, the symbolic weight of this advancement lies in the strategic message it sends. It tells the world that Pakistan is no longer content to depend on legacy aircraft or foreign suppliers for its defense sovereignty. Instead, it is investing in an ecosystem of innovation, local research, skilled engineering, and advanced production facilities that can sustain long-term military self-sufficiency. Western analysts view this development as a milestone that could inspire similar trends in other developing nations, shifting the global defense dynamic toward a more diversified and unpredictable balance. What alarms Western defense circles most is not only the jet itself, but what it represents. A declaration that technological innovation is no longer the exclusive domain of wealthy or traditionally dominant powers. With each test flight, Pakistan redefines what is possible for a nation once considered limited by economic and technological constraints, and that realization is forcing even the most advanced militaries to rethink their assumptions about who can lead the next era of aerospace evolution. The fear of a regional power rebalance lies at the center of Western anxiety over Pakistan's next-generation fighter jet program because it challenges a status quo that has existed for decades. For a long time, Western defense planners relied on a predictable hierarchy in which NATO standard technology dominated global air power, leaving developing nations technologically dependent. That dependency ensured that the balance of power, especially in volatile regions like South Asia, remained manageable through controlled arms supplies and diplomatic leverage. Pakistan's rapid advancements, however, have begun to erode that structure. The development of a stealth-capable fighter equipped with cutting-edge radar, electronic warfare systems, and precision-guided weaponry signals a narrowing of the performance gap between Western jets such as the F-16, Rafale, or Eurofighter and Pakistan's upcoming aircraft. This progress introduces new variables into the regional equation, especially in its long-standing rivalry with India, where air dominance has often been a decisive factor in deterrence. Western experts now recognize that Pakistan's increasing ability to produce and modernize advanced aircraft indigenously reduces its reliance on external suppliers, giving it greater operational flexibility and strategic confidence. Such autonomy can alter military calculations in South Asia, where even a small shift in technological parity can have vast geopolitical consequences. The West fears that this balance could lead to more assertive defense postures as Pakistan's confidence in its own capabilities grows and its deterrent power strengthens. Beyond South Asia, this shift also has implications for global alliances because it represents a move away from Western defense ecosystems toward alternative partnerships, chiefly with China. This not only weakens Western influence in regional security affairs, but also empowers a new bloc of defense cooperation that could eventually rival Western arms markets. The alarm in Western circles, therefore, is not merely about the aircraft's technical prowess, but about the changing architecture of military power and influence. A successful Pakistani next-generation fighter jet means a world where air superiority is no longer guaranteed by wealth or Western alignment, but by innovation, adaptability, and strategic partnerships. This realization signals a gradual but significant redistribution of military confidence, one that could rewrite the dynamics of deterrence, diplomacy, and defense across Asia and beyond, forcing traditional powers to acknowledge that the monopoly on technological superiority is slipping from their grasp. China's silent but strategic involvement in Pakistan's next-generation fighter jet program stands as one of the most defining factors behind Western alarm, because it reflects more than a simple defense partnership. It symbolizes the deepening of a geopolitical alliance designed to shift the balance of global power. For years, China has invested heavily in developing its own aerospace industry, mastering technologies that once seemed impossible to acquire under Western export restrictions. Now, through close collaboration with Pakistan, Beijing is extending that expertise to strengthen a regional ally that aligns with its broader strategic ambitions. This partnership enables Pakistan to overcome limitations that once constrained its defense modernization, giving it access to research, design, and manufacturing processes that would have otherwise taken decades to develop independently. Behind the scenes, Chinese support in stealth design, avionics, and propulsion systems has accelerated Pakistan's progress, effectively compressing years of technological evolution into a fraction of the time. Western defense analysts view this as a calculated move by Beijing to expand its influence through defense diplomacy, creating a network of capable partners equipped with Chinese-aligned systems that can operate outside of Western technological ecosystems. The collaboration between Pakistan and China in aerospace is not limited to the transfer of hardware. It involves the exchange of intellectual property, training, and integrated production capabilities that allow Pakistan to build, upgrade, and maintain sophisticated aircraft domestically. This model of co-development directly challenges Western dominance in global arms manufacturing and export, which traditionally relied on dependency as a tool of influence. The joint nature of the program also carries significant symbolic weight because it demonstrates how developing nations can bypass Western approval and create advanced systems through strategic partnerships. For Western policymakers, this development represents a worrying trend where China's defense outreach not only strengthens its allies militarily, but also expands its geopolitical footprint across key regions. As Pakistan becomes a hub for Chinese defense technology in South Asia, Western defense planners see the emergence of a new strategic axis, one that could reshape the military balance from the Indian Ocean to the Middle East. This cooperation underscores the changing nature of power projection in the modern world, where influence is no longer measured solely by military bases or alliances, but by the ability to empower partners technologically. The silent precision with which China is assisting Pakistan embodies a new form of global competition, one fought not through open confrontation, but through the strategic sharing of capability, innovation, and control, effectively redrawing the boundaries of modern defense alliances. Western concerns over the export and influence potential of Pakistan's next-generation fighter jet program stem from the realization that this project could disrupt the long-standing monopoly of Western powers in the global arms market. For decades, Western defense industries have dominated military aviation exports, setting the technological standards and controlling who gets access to high-performance systems. This dominance has allowed them not only to generate vast economic profits, but also to shape the geopolitical behavior of purchasing nations. If Pakistan's upcoming fighter jet achieves operational success and demonstrates strong performance in combat simulations, it could emerge as an attractive alternative for countries that cannot afford Western jets or face political restrictions in acquiring them. Many nations across Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia are actively seeking affordable yet capable multi-role fighters, and a Pakistani aircraft developed in partnership with China could fill that gap perfectly. This potential market shift is what worries Western policymakers the most, because it threatens to decentralize global defense commerce and introduce a competitive platform that operates outside traditional Western influence. Pakistan's aircraft could offer advanced features such as stealth, integrated avionics, and precision-guided capabilities at a fraction of the price of Western systems, making it highly appealing to mid-tier militaries looking to modernize on a budget. Such exports would not just be commercial transactions, they would forge new political and defense alignments, as recipient nations would naturally become more reliant on Pakistan and China for maintenance, upgrades, and future weapons integration. This ripple effect could gradually erode Western leverage in several regions where defense trade has long served as a diplomatic tool. Analysts in Western defense circles also fear that this project could inspire other nations to replicate the model of low-cost, high-performance co-development, further undermining the exclusivity of Western aerospace technology. Beyond economics, there is a strategic concern that such exports could alter regional power dynamics, especially if advanced systems are sold to nations with contentious security environments. The ability of Pakistan to transition from an importer to an exporter of sophisticated military technology marks a significant evolution in the global arms hierarchy, one that challenges the Western assumption that innovation and influence move in the same direction. Each successful export or partnership would not only represent a commercial victory for Pakistan, but also a symbolic erosion of Western control over who gets to define the future of aerial warfare, signaling a gradual shift toward a multipolar defense order where technology, affordability, and strategic independence outweigh traditional alliances. The psychological impact of Pakistan's next-generation fighter jet program on Western strategic thinking runs deeper than technical or military concerns because it disrupts long-held assumptions about who holds the authority to innovate in the defense world. For decades, Western powers have viewed themselves as the primary architects of advanced aerospace technology, setting the global standards for design, performance, and combat capability. Nations outside this circle were often perceived as consumers rather than creators, reliant on imports and foreign maintenance to sustain their air power. Pakistan's rise as a credible developer of a next-generation jet shatters that mental framework, signaling that a nation once categorized as dependent can achieve technological breakthroughs through persistence, collaboration, and strategic planning. This challenges the psychological comfort that Western defense analysts have maintained for generations, that technological superiority equates to geopolitical control. The idea that a developing country could design a stealth-capable, data-integrated fighter capable of rivaling Western aircraft at a fraction of the cost undermines the narrative that only the wealthiest nations can shape the future of aerial warfare. It also sends a message to other emerging powers that innovation is no longer confined to the industrial West, but is accessible through determination, education, and strategic partnership. This realization unsettles Western defense circles because it forces them to confront an uncomfortable truth. The monopoly on military innovation is breaking. Pakistan's progress, particularly when coupled with Chinese technical mentorship, demonstrates that the balance of creative capability is shifting eastward. Western policymakers now have to rethink not just their technological strategy, but their psychological approach to deterrence and dominance. The prestige once attached to Western fighter programs like the F-35 or the Eurofighter is no longer unquestioned, as new entrants prove that cutting-edge performance can come from unexpected sources. What disturbs the Western psyche further is the symbolic nature of this evolution. It's not merely about aircraft, but about national confidence, ambition, and self-definition. When a nation like Pakistan, historically viewed through the lens of economic and strategic dependency, takes charge of its own aerospace destiny, it signals the beginning of a new era where innovation is democratized and no longer controlled by a few global powers. This psychological disruption has a cascading effect on Western defense planning, as it compels strategists to re-evaluate old models of influence and adapt to a reality where capability, not pedigree, defines power. Pakistan's next-generation fighter jet program is far more than a technical achievement. It's a declaration of intent, a message to the world that determination and vision can outpace even the most established powers. Western defense circles are not merely watching a new aircraft take shape, they are witnessing the rise of a new mindset, one that refuses to accept limits imposed by history or hierarchy. This is not just about engines, stealth coatings, or radar systems. It's about the courage to dream beyond dependency and the confidence to stand shoulder to shoulder with the global elite. The unease in Western capitals is not just about the jet itself, but what it symbolizes: a shift in power, a reshaping of influence, and a reminder that the future of defense innovation will not be dictated by geography, but by those bold enough to defy expectation. Pakistan's emergence in the aerospace arena is a story of resilience, reinvention, and resolve, and whether the world likes it or not, it marks the dawn of a new chapter in global military evolution, one where the balance of the skies is no longer written by the West alone.